Hi everyone, and welcome to day 9 of Lenormarch. And our featured guests today are the tree and clouds. So, the tree, number 5. For me, the tree is about slow and steady growth. It takes quite some time for a tree to grow to its full capacity. So there's this sense of patience. It's certainly nothing that's going to be rushed due to the fact that, the tree has roots that go into Mother Earth. I can understand that philosophy of ancestry and lineage and even karmic connections. It all has this sort of feeling about going back into the past. It's been quite a journey for this tree to grow from a seedling and flourish as it has here. And of course, we talk about health when it comes to the tree, which I totally agree with. We call it the tree of life, right? Without our health, we don't have much life. And then there's also that sort of shamanistic side to the tree card, and there's a spiritual side to it as well, I understand. And I think, again, that comes from the fact that, say, the indigenous cultures really value the tree and Mother Earth. And so, I can understand why some people equate the tree with, it's not so much shamanism per se, but, what shamanism is about healing and the spiritual side and just focusing and respecting Mother Earth and her history. So to me, it's all encompassing in that regard. And again, I just sort of feel that thing of, your feet firmly planted into the ground, or you might, how do they say it? Something taking root, which means it's really solid. I can see that it could be about someone or something. And maybe it's also about branching out. In a certain sense when you think about how the trees grow. So all in all, it is about health and history, how you are rooted, the tree of life, health, and lineage with a little bit of sort of spiritual and universal knowledge thrown in for good measure. Now to the clouds. Well, obviously, when you first look at that card, there seems to be a great deal of uncertainty. It's cloudy. It's like driving through a fog. From a health perspective, a lot of people talk about, depression, and maybe with the two sides to the cloud, it could be, a bipolar condition. I think it can just be simply feeling a bit down and depressed, and, you're just in a funk. About something or about life itself on a personal level. And then, from a mental level, well, yeah, it's just foggy brain, can't decide which way to go, or can't actually see a clear way out of this situation. So I think, again, both the tree and the clouds have that element of patience. The tree grows with patience, and the clouds require patience. If you needed to make a decision quickly, and the clouds came up, would be saying, ooh, well, you really don't want to rush into a decision, considering, because when those dark clouds clear, you could see, there's so much that can be hidden. So I guess there's an element of hidden factors behind there. So you're not going to actually be able to view them until the clouds part. So there's the dark side, the stormy weather, where things can go wrong. It can bring on doubts and problems and deterioration maybe. And then the light side shows, look, there's a chance for improvement from here on. This is a chance to embrace new beginnings. But as it stands today, I'd say don't take the situation on face value. You need to wait until you see the whole picture clearly. if we look at it as a weather thing, well, clouds are moving and they can be dark and then they can be light and fluffy. So maybe you could say it's a changeable situation. The clouds are whizzing across the sky, or are they, heavy and dark and they're going nowhere? But even if they're heavy and dark and going nowhere, we know that's a temporary situation. So I think, yeah, mental fog, uncertainty, it may bring on moods, like a mood swing, um, light and dark, a conflict of interests, but all in all, uncertainty and. Don't you hate it when you get like there's another word, something's coming, and it just. Well, that's the clouds for you. Yes, it's an uncertain situation, and I'm uncertain about what I wanted to say, so I'll just leave it at that. Now, I don't have my laptop in front of me because I'm a dingleberry. The question was something like, when was your well-being clouded, or something like that? Like there were clouds over your well-being, I think. I don't know whether I'm actually answering this quite correctly, but when I look at the tree and think of health and well-being and the clouds, it does take me back to my days in the music industry. And I loved my job so very much I cannot even begin to explain. And I was the manager of a music library, and I was producing in-flight entertainment for 14 different airlines. So it was pretty full on. It was a world of deadlines. And so it was very exciting, but of course it did have its element of stress. And, like most industries, we want more clients, but we don't have the money for any more staff. So one channel in particular took a whole month to produce, and it was a monthly show. So you can imagine it's just one of those jobs where it sounds really easy. Write a few songs down, that'll do, pop them all up there. It doesn't work like that. Not only that, we would get live guests in every month. So in other words, bands, singers, it was very exciting. But my body began to get a little bit stressed out and tired. And I think it was like a nervous system issue. And to cut a long story short, I became very unwell and started having to have a few days off, and then it was a week. It just seemed to get worse and worse. It was very painful, and I had to have more time off, which really concerned me. But my boss was absolutely marvelous and very, very understanding. The thing was, where this comes into it, I went to doctors, I went to the hospital, I was hospitalized, I was examined by surgeons, and nobody knew what it was. So I felt like there was this dark cloud over my well-being, and I became very unwell, and I lost so much weight. I looked, kind of skinny and bony. But the strange thing is, to this very day, we don't really know what it was. They called it a virus. It was a very painful virus, I have to say, but they offered exploratory surgery, and I thanked them very much for their interest, but declined. And that actually was a serendipitous thing, because it led me to begin researching and subsequently studying alternative healing therapies, including energy healing. And it was, that's what came out of it, this wonderful thing, which pertains to a question in the future. Is there a silver lining, to every dark and gloomy situation? This was a very, very stressful and physically painful situation. And yes, there was a wonderful silver lining, because that led me to where I am today. And after giving up the stressful lifestyle, the very, very fast pace of it, which I think was most of the problem, it involved a lot of rushing. And my nervous system said, I just don't want to do that anymore. And unless you start listening to me, Leander, I'm going to scream louder and louder and louder. And that's just the way it goes. So I had to listen. And unfortunately, I thought it was the best thing to do under the circumstances. I thought the best thing to do under the circumstances was to leave. And I miss that job to this very day. But that's the way it had to be. And so for me, the tree and the clouds are saying, yes, there's a great deal of uncertainty with regards to this health situation. There's not a lot of clarity. But again, by embracing a new philosophy, everything worked out well. So I went from the dark to the light. May not have been the answer I was expecting, but at least I got to the light. So that's my number 9 day, and I hope you gained something for yourself out of this in some shape or form. I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye for now.